Hello and welcome to PHPDemy. Today's tutorial is for absolute beginners and those who wish to refresh their PHP basic knowledge. The tutorial is on user login and registration system. So, without further ado, let's get started. So this tutorial is going to be in procedural method. So we are taking a step away from object-oriented PHP. So the first thing we're going to do, if you look at our root directory, we have just one file, which is the CSS file, the style sheet. So the first thing we're going to do is to create our first PHP file, and we'll call this registration.php, and then we'll declare our document type, and also we can give it a title registration, and then we can as well call in our style sheet. I have link CSS, and then we can call this bootstrap since that's the name of our file. Next is to begin to build our form. So we have a div of class container, and next we have a div of role, and then also we have another div of code large 6, and then of offset, sorry about that, of offset large of 3. So this is to enable us center our form in the middle of the screen. Again, we have a class, a div of class of card. Okay, let's give it a form first of all. So we'll have a form of post, and then since everything is going to be in one file, let's give it an action of registration. So next we have a div of a class of card, and then we have rounded 0, and then we have a class of margin top of 5. Then we also have another div of card header with a class of card header and the background of white. So we have BG white, and okay, let's leave it there. Then we have H1. Okay, this H1 should have a class of text center, and then we have our title. So we have registration form. Next is going to be the card body. So we have a div of card body, and then it is within this body that we're going to have our input fields. So we have our first input field as full name with a label of full name and a name of full name. Next is going to be, we can copy this and paste 3 times. So we have 2 and then 3, and then finally we can also, okay, let's go on and edit this to email, copy email and paste here, and then here. Next is going to be the password, and then we have password here, also here. Input type should be password, so it can hidden here. And then next is going to be repeat password. So we have repeat password here, and I'll separate this, and then I'll have repeat password here, and then here. You can also separate this, then copy password, and then change the type, input type, to be password. Next is going to be the submit button. So just behind the closing div for the div with a class of card body, we have our card footer. So let's go on now and then see what we have done so far. So we go to our browser, have localhost /art, right? So this is how our form looks like. Next we're going to do is we'll start writing our PHP syntax to be able to insert our data into the database. So to begin writing our PHP syntax to enable us input our information into the database, we'll come up here to the form, beginning of the form, and then we'll create our PHP opening tag. Let's go ahead and close it right away, and then we start with the if statement. We say if is set, and then we have the post type, and then the submit button is has a name of submit. Sorry about that. Have submit, and then we open and close this. So next we are going to do, let's give it a comment there. We declare our params. So we have the first to be full name, and then we have post full name. Next is email, and we have post of email. Next is going to be password, and then we have post password. Finally, we have repeat password, and then we have a post of repeat password, and we close that. The next thing we're going to do is to validate our input fields. So to do this, we'll first of all, let's give it a validate input, and then the first thing we're going to do is to declare a params, an empty array. So we have errors equal to array, and then to ensure all the fields are required, we say if empty full name or empty email or, sorry about that, empty password, or empty repeat password. So if any of that is empty, so we say array push, and then we have errors, and then we have our error message. All fields are required. And then we close that. Now to be able to get the message somewhere. Okay, seems a 3 there instead of 2. Also this to be true. Okay, sorry about that. This is where the mistake lies. Alright, it's supposed to be a rectangle parenthesis, not a coil parenthesis. So now to be able to echo each of these error message that we have, we'll go down and we'll say if error count is greater than 0, then we should do something, else we should also do something. So here we'll say we should insert into the database, and here you can say output error message. So in order to output this error message, we can say for each errors as error. So we have let's echo this, and then we say div of class alert danger. Then we close that, and then we have error, and then we close this, and then we have this. So we can just end this here, concatenate that, and have it this way. So we seem to have an error. Okay, we didn't close that. We didn't have our semicolon at the end. So let's now go and then check this out. When we refresh, we submit, we have our error message right here. So in order to have this within our form, let's go back and then copy all of this, just cut it right here, and then we can put it just immediately after our registration form. That is our card header, and then save. We'll go back and then refresh, have it right here. So now that we are able to output our errors, let's go on and then add some of the other error messages or conditions that must be met to have our form secured. So I have gone ahead and added a few validations. This is just to validate the email address to ensure that whatever the user is imputed in the email column is actually an email address. And then we set a condition of also the length of the string should be at least 6 characters, and also passwords should definitely be identical to the repeat password or vice versa. So now that we have all of our validations ready, let's go test them out and see. So we have then, and then let's give it sorry about that. All right, 1 2 3 4 5. Let's see which. So password do not match, and also email, let's say GG. We also have invalid email. We also have password be at least 6 characters and all of that. Also, if you take a look at what we have, each time our page refreshes, the input content field all disappear. So to fix this, let's just put in a very short code in our input field. So to fix this, we say value is equal echo. Let's close that as well. So this is just a short form of echo. So we say is set post of full name. So if it's set, we can just copy this. So if it's set, that's full name, and if it's not, then we just return empty. So what we basically did here was that if the input field for full name is set, then we return whatever it is being contained in it, less we return an empty space. I don't want to say an empty string. So let's go back and then have this. So when you see, it's now holding it. So we'll have email, we'll say gg arts ch or whatever. We'll also refresh. Okay, we have not done for this, so let's go back and then we can just copy this, paste, and then we'll change this to email and also email. So when we refresh, we have ggartcn.com, and we submit it right there. So this is how we can retain our input field contents. So the next thing we are going to do, now that we cannot hold our password because password is something that is supposed to be secret, so there's no point. So the next thing we're going to do is create our connection so that we can be able to impute data into the database. So we come here and then create our connection file of db_con.php. So to begin this, we declare our PHP opening tag, and then next we start a session. So we decide to start a session in our DB because any form or any page that requires to extract or insert data into the database will surely or almost surely requires a session. So we say session underscore start. Then next is we declare our params. So we say db connection params. The first is the host. So we have local host. Next is username. I'll say db name. So we have db name should be Reggie login, something like that, whatever name you want. We're here to create this, so we'll do that in a moment. Next is password, username rather. So we have username. The username is root for local server, and then password, let's say pass is empty. So before we continue, let's go ahead and create the database. So let's head back to our browser and then create a new database. So we gave our database name to be, let's check it. All right, while we're awaiting our database to load, I already done this. So we use a try and catch method right here. So we instantiated our PDO, and then we called in all of the parameters, as you can see, db name, username, and then password, localhost. So we can just say move this and then just replace it with this. And then to be sure that our database file is working, let's echo connected, but we will test this after we have set up our database. So the database name is Reggie login. So let's copy that and then paste right here. So we have 4 tables. So table name is registration. So we have 4 columns rather. So we have the ID, which is auto incremental, and then we have the full name, which is voucher. Let's give it a length of 100. We have the email, which is also voucher. Let's also give it 100. And then we have the password. Let's also give it a voucher, also 100. Then we save, and then we go back to our browser, and then let's just change this to db_con. Once we have connected, all right, p-word. Okay, sorry about that. It's supposed to be pass word. I'm already used to writing p-word. So connected. So our database is connected. So we can now delete this. So the next thing we're going to do is insert the form content into the database. So to do this, we say statement. This is short for statement. We have PDO. That is the instance that we got from here. We say PDO is equals to this instance. So that is what we're calling the connection. But okay, before we just do that, let's require DB connection. So we say require once. So we have db_con.php. Then we'll close that. So once we have included or required our database connection, so we'll say prepare. Let's prepare our statement, and then we have insert into our data table. Our database table is registration, so we have registration, and then we have an open bracket, and then we have full name, email, and then password. Next is going to be the values. So we have values, and these values are going to be whatever we have in our forms. Next is we're going to say statement. There's a whole of that. Then we can now execute this statement. Execute. So we have statement execute, and then we are going to, but before we do that, we don't just want to put our database password or user password as a mere plain text. So what we have to do is we can convert our password into a hashed password. So let's say hashed password. So we have password hash should be equal to, so we have password underscore hash, and then we have the password, and then we have password, let's use default, right? So we can now copy this and then come down here and say full name, email, and then hash password. Now, to be able to get a success message, we can enclose all of these in let's just copy this and say if this is true, then we can output a success message. We can just copy this here and then paste right here. So instead of having this as error, so say successful, so registration successful. So let's go ahead and test our forms. You can go back. So we have password to be 1 2 3 4 5 6. You say it should be at least 6 characters. So we also have 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, registration is successful. Okay, sorry about that. Here should be success. So we can now have 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. All right, looks more like what we see every day. So let's go now and check our database. We should have 2 inputs. All right, so these are the 2 inputs that we have. The first one returns success, but in a danger alert, so we needed to fix that. Next is we are going to work on the login. So to begin our login form, we can just copy, okay, let's just duplicate this login.php, and then we can copy everything here, and then we can paste it right here and then edit it. So we can come here and say login, and then we can just copy this and then paste, and then here we change it to login. That's the action. Also we can what else, we can remove this full name, we can remove repeat password, we can also remove the hash password, we can as well remove what else, password do not match, we can also, all right, I think okay, we can also this, yes, we can do this. Then down to the form, we can remove this and then remove repeat password. Okay, and then also we can, okay, let's leave it there. I think what I needed to do is to go to the browser now and then change this to login and see how the forms look like. So this is how our login form should look like. Next, we're going to start writing our code to log in a user. Alright, so we also have this to take care of, and then this to take care of. So that is that. So when we go and check this, you can see that we can as well just remove that, since we don't even need to tell anybody that they need to do that. So let's start the process of logging in. So let's change this to login user, and then we say statement is equal PDO prepare, and then we select, let's select everything from our registration table where email is this. Next we say statement executes email. So we're using the email to log in since they are all unique. Well, we didn't write that condition though, but when you look at some of my courses, you can be able to deduce how to make a user unique in the database, so you don't have conflicting data. So next is going to be row. Sorry about that. Row is equals to statement fetch. So we are fetching the information, the user that is about to log in. So let's verify user password. So we say if the information gotten is correct, and then the password verify. So we have password, and then what we got from our database, which is password row of password. Then let's proceed. So we say session, we have user underscore ID is equal to row ID. So we're giving our session some values. Also we have session of username. So we have username, and then we have it as a row of full name. So anywhere we call user name session, it will retrieve the name of the login user. So after obtaining the value of our user session, we can now redirect logged in user to profile.php. So we say header, and then we have location, then we have profile.php, then we exit. So next, if the information inserted is wrong, we can now, let's just come here, copy this, let's just copy this, and then we paste here, and then remove this, say credentials, or rather invalid credentials. So let's go check out this invalid credentials and see how it looks like. So let's head on to our form. This is login of page 65, happening line 65. Unexpected syntax. Oh, okay. Line 65. Okay, all of this is supposed to be in a code. Let's see. All right, so we have our email to be, okay, let's give it a wrong email. We have gb, previous ones were ggcn.com, and then 098765. Let's see. Okay, what other error do we have here? So the error said a database violation. I guess we were rushing, so we didn't include from right here. Give it a space here, and then so we have invalid credentials. So you can see password is wrong, email is wrong. So but when we insert the correct one, we have gg's at cn, and then we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. We don't have our profile page, but let's see. So it has already directed us to our profile page right here, but since we don't have any, we really can't access it. So let's create a new profile page. So we have profile.php. So we have this profile, and then we can link to our css, and then we have bootstrap, and then we can have the body. So we have div of container, and then we have h1 of text center, and then we have user. Okay, let's say welcome. So we're going to insert our username right here. So now that we have our, okay, we have margin top 5. So now that we have our profile, let's see how we can get our users information. So we go up right here at the very top, declare our PHP tag, we close that, and then we require our database. So we say require once, require db. So we'll have require underscore once, and then we'll have db underscore current.php. Next is we say if it's set to our session user ID. So we say user underscore ID. So we say let user ID be equal to the session ID. So we have user underscore ID. Remember, we already say this should be equal right here. We say this should be equals to the user ID. So whichever user that is logged in, the session user underscore ID will be directly related to the user ID that is logged in. So that is why we have it right here. So let's fetch retrieve user details. So we say statement is equal to PDO prepare select all from registration where ID is this. Next we say user. Next we say statement execute. Now the user ID will be whatever we have here that is going to be executed. Finally we say user is equal statement fetch. So to be able to echo the current user full name or information, we say echo user full name or email if you want, whichever information of the user you want to echo. You can do it right now. So when we go back and then we refresh this, we have that. So guys, this is how you can create a simple login and registration form using PHP and MySQL. In case you have any question or you want me to make a tutorial on any topic, please let me know on the comment section below. Thank you and remain blessed.